हरिः ओं श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। अभ्रमं भङ्गरहितम् अजडं विमलं सदा आनन्दतीर्थमतलं भजेतापत्रयापहं मिथ्यासिद्धान्तदुद्ध्वान्तविध्वंसिनविचक्षणः जयतीत्याकृतनिर्भासतां नो हृदम्बरे अप्तिकृततल्पोऽयं प्रत्यत्यकेसरी व्यासतीर्थगुरुभूयात् अस्मदिष्टार्थसिद्धये तपोविद्याविरक्त्यादि सद्गुणोगाकराणं वादिराजगुरून् वन्दे ऐग्रीपदाश्रयान् पूज्य राघवेन्द्राय चिद्धर्मरताय च भजतां कल्पवृक्षाय नमतां कामधेनवे दुर्वादिध्वान्तरवये वैष्णवेन्दीवरेन्दवे श्रीराघवेन्द्रगुरुवे नमोऽत्यन्तदयाळवे आपादमौलिपर्यन्तं गुरूणामाप्तिं स्मरेत् तेन विघ्नाः प्रणश्यन्ति सिद्ध्यन्ति मनोरथाः। हरिः ओं श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः. Just to give an introduction, we are going to do KhandarthNirnaya. Today we are doing at 6 p.m. Sunday, but going forward we have free slot 9:30 p.m. EST on Thursdays. So we'll shift it to that slot. So today I'll just do some kind of introduction for this, what we are going to do and what is all about. It's popularly known as KarmaNirnaya. KarmaNirnaya is a very popular thing. But some of the manuscripts that Bananji Govindacharya got, there it is mentioned as KhandarthNirnaya. And so actually in the foreword, right at the beginning, he talks about the naming. He says it should be KhandarthNirnaya. But others like Tikara and all, they have already commented, they mentioned as KarmaNirnaya. So probably both the names, because they have got a good parampara also for that, Tikaraya parampara. So though Bananji takes a strong stand that it should be called only KhandarthNirnaya but not KarmaNirnaya, because of the parampara that we have, we'll just take both the names as valid names. And actually at the very beginning, Bananji Govindacharya, he gives some reasons why it should be called. So I'll just go through that briefly, that one. And Purovakaha, forward, there he says, Shankishirannapi kechid evam nanu jagati jaitirtha muni rachita tika sarvaihi adruta. So everybody respects the tika given by Jaitirtha Muni. And so a lot of people criticized Bananjacharya why he is giving a different name and why he is opposing the KarmaNirnaya name and all that. So Bananjacharya gives his own reasoning. So whatever reasoning he gives, that we briefly go through that. But still, because the parampara is there for Tikaraya, KarmaNirnaya can also be taken, though Bananjay doesn't allow, says it should be only KhandarthNirnaya. But what are the reasons he gives? Just we go through that. So a lot of people objected him. So he mentioned that Kim punaha anena mudha dhashtyena yat prasoshta nutnamidam vyakhyanam Khandartha Chandrika nama kinnidanam idam apurvam sahasamiti santi naikani nidanani nanu adhiyatam tani imani kanichana aruchi vachanani prachina tikayam. So he is saying, a lot of people are objecting, saying, why are you doing all this? It's a wasted effort. So they criticize Bananjacharya, and you are unnecessarily doing dharshya, that means rash, bold, excessively bold, rash behavior. So why this new Vyakhyana? Because he called Khandartha Chandrika. So the actually he mentions later down, Narhari Tirtharu also wrote a tika on that, but it's not available anymore. It's lost, nobody had. His only mention is there that Narhari Tirtharu wrote a tika on that, but that's not available, our misfortune. So Bananji also mentioned that it's not available. But he has given, Bananji has given a commentary on that, and which he called Khandartha Chandrika. So people criticize, why are you giving your own commentary? Tikarayar already given a commentary, so why you are giving? So a lot of people criticize him. He says, what is the reason for this unprecedented effort? Nobody did this. Why are you doing this? So this is a sahasa, unnecessary daringness that you are showing. And nidana means karana. So he says there are a lot of reasons for that, and his Bannanji Acharya is listing the reasons. He says, let people go through these reasons. They may say it's not proper. Aruchi bijani. So unnecessarily giving controversies and getting into controversies. Why this? So he says, prabandhasya nama karoti. So whoever writes a prabandha or a work, the writer, he gives a name for the work. And for this work, he got hold of some manuscripts which mentioned the name KhandarthNirnaya. And for some reason, he says this Karma Nirnaya is a new name that came later. So probability which we don't know is there might have been more than one manuscript, and maybe the one manuscript that Bannanji got, it has the KhandarthNirnaya, and today there is no other manuscript which says Karma Nirnaya, but maybe during Tikarayar time there might have been another manuscript which may have borne the name Karma Nirnaya, and that's why earlier, a lot of people use the name Karma Nirnaya, but those manuscripts are not available anymore, so we don't know what happened. So, but it says, Nanu Prachina Tikadishu Prayaha Niyatya Karma Nirnaya Ityeva Prayogo Drishyate Satyam Drishyatam Kim Tena Tadapi Namantaramiti Prachinanam Ashaya Iti Jnayate. So it says, some people will argue that maybe the Prachina previous ones, they had this and all that. And Bannanji opposes, Nabho Bhrantosi, Na ayam Namanidesha, Kintu Vastu Nirdesha. It says, the name is given, not just to say, okay, whatever name is given, why bother about the name? Bannanji Acharya says, Vastu Nirdesha, because this has Khandartha for a segment of Vedic literature, basically. In that Vedic literature, probably the karma is not emphasized, or rather karma is emphasized, but not the philosophy is emphasized. And it's only, it's all karma related only, no philosophy in there. That's the wrong notion people had. And when Acharya said, no, everything has the philosophical purport in Vedas, people asked, okay, this bhaga, this portion, Khandartha, in that you show what kind of philosophy is there, only karma is being spoken about. So the name that is given is KhandarthNirnaya. So a decision is made on the Khandartha. So a decision is not made on the karma itself. So that's why the KhandarthNirnaya is more appropriate name. That's why he is arguing. But Karma Nirnaya, it is not the Nirnaya of the karma, but Nirnaya of the portion which people misunderstood as telling only karma. That's why even Karma Nirnaya, though direct meaning is Nirnaya of the karma, it may not be appropriate, but if it is the Nirnaya is drawn on the portion of the Vedas where people misunderstood that it teaches only the karma. Acharya says, no, it's the karma nirnaya. That means the nirnaya made not as karma, but nirnaya made on a portion which was mistaken as karma. So there, the philosophical interpretation of the karma bhaga, that's why karma nirnaya name also can be taken as not an inappropriate name, but quite an appropriate name that way also. Though Bannanji Acharya says it should be only KhandarthNirnaya. And then Mula Kosha Anavalambaha. So the Mula Kosha that Bannanji Acharya got hold of, he says that has the name KhandarthNirnaya, And the people claim that there may have been another Mula Kosha which has the name KharmaNirnaya, but Bannanja Acharya is saying such a thing is not available. But that is not available today. Does not mean it was not available 500 years ago or 600 years ago or whatever. So it might have been available at earlier date, and maybe last 100 or 200 years it might have been lost. That's also possible. But Bannanja is saying it's not available, so how can we talk about that? So that's another point he brings. And then the third point he talks about is Vaidika Padanam Nirvachaneshu Niruktam Prathamam Sthanam Adhyaste. But this Nirukta is basically etymology or definition. And he says KhandarthNirnaya is a proper definition, it gives proper interpretation also. That word makes more sense, he was saying. But it depends upon how we look at it. So, Anyaha Pantaha Paniyanam, Anyo Nairuktanam, Vayyakaranaha Niruktam Abhi Upayanti. So, the grammarians, Nirukta, Vyakarana is grammar. Nirukta is basically etymological aspect of it. So, even the grammarians, they give consideration for Nirukta. So, the etymologists, they talk about the etymology of the words, and grammarians, they talk about the grammatical aspects. And Panini is a grammarian. He wrote the Panini Vyakarana. And Nirukta is another Vedanga where the definitions, etymologies of the expressions are taken. And he is saying this etymologically, this should be taken as KhandarthNirnaya only. But etymologically also KharmaNirnaya can also be, etymologically it can also be given proper interpretation. It's possible, because the karma bhaga, whichever is there, the nirnaya about the, not nirnaya as karma, but nirnaya of the karma bhaga, which is given a philosophical interpretation by Acharya. So that's another thing. And then his fourth point he talks about is Bhagavat Pada Mukhat Adhigata Khandarthaha Shri Narhari Tirthaha Madhvadevasya Sakshat Shishyaha Tena Eva Samadhigata Samasta Tattva Vada Saraha Jayatirtha Munehe Purva Guruscha. So Jayatirtha Muni came, as you know, Narhari Tirtha came earlier than Jayatirtha Muni. So Bannanja is saying Jayatirtha Muni is the one who used the name KharmaNirnaya, but the one earlier to him, who is Narahari Tirtha, he used the name KhandarthNirnaya. So because he is a Purva Guru of Jayatirtha, we should be taken as KhandarthNirnaya only. So Tena Tad Vyakhyana Dushana Prayatnascha Na Rochate Tattva Jignasubhyaha. So, Tattva Jignasus, they don't like the effort of criticizing Tikarayaru's thing. So, Bannanja basically saying that his reasoning is not just to criticize Tikarayaru, but he is saying that KhandarthNirnaya alone is the proper name. And then he's saying, unfortunately, we don't have the tika available from Narahari Tirtharu. And then he says, Anyatveda Mukhyam Panchamam Karanam Sishyavashyatvam Nama Bahavo Mama Sishyaha Mamupetya Vignapayamasu Karma Kandeshu Adhitanam. That means whoever are not versed in Karma Kanda, Durgamatamaha Ayam KhandarthNirnaya. This KhandarthNirnaya work is very, very hard to understand. So, Prachina Tikascha Mitabhashitaya na sputam Mulabodhaya Prabhavanti Tad Vistrutam Upasushtamantranam Artham Nirvarnayat. So, basically, what saying is, some of the disciples of Bannanja Acharya, they approached him and they said, those people who are not well versed in Karma Kanda, those people find this work KhandarthNirnaya very, very difficult to understand. And the Prachina Tikas, whichever are there, they are not very clear. They are not very in-depth analysis. So the later Tika, like Tika Rairu, it became very more easy to understand. So, and because people have all these kinds of misconceptions, Bananja Acharya, he says, he is writing this book to dispel whatever misconceptions are all there about people thinking whether this is right, that is right. So he is presenting his case. He's saying, I am presenting this as my case. So let people accept it or not accept it, it's left to their choice. But I want to present my case. So that's what he's saying. And then, interestingly, he talks about some of the Guru Parampara, how it's, Pratasmaraniya Gurus, whomever he thinks in this one. So he is going through that. While mentioning casually, he mentions there's one popular sloka, a lot of people recite this. Brahmanta Gurava Sakshad Ishtam Daivam Sheyapatihi Acharyaha Srimadacharyaha Santu Janmani Janmani. But lot of the people, they say Santu Me Janma Janmani. So Santu Me Janma Janmani is grammatically incorrect because Janma Janmani means in every birth. That meaning comes in every Janma. That meaning comes Janmani. Janma is a Kannada expression. Kannada Janmagalali. So similarly in Telugu and Tamil. So Janma. So basically repetition of that word Janma will say every Janma, every birth. So Janma. And they said, okay, in Sanskrit also we say Janmani. So other language approach is forced into Sanskrit, which Sanskrit doesn't accept. Janmani is not a valid expression in Samskrita. So it should be, and this is very, very a valid argument. It should have been, somebody made a mistake, Santu me Janmani. That is not a proper patha. It should be Santu Janmani. That is the correct. And in that aspect, it is correct. I mean, what Bananjay claims is true. It should be Santu Janmani, not Santu me Janmani. And then Guru Parampara goes on saying, Ramapatim Purna Gunam Mukundam Vyasam cha Vijnana Sahasrabhanam Purna Prabodham cha Susattva Deepam Kramat Gurum cha Pranamami Mudna. So he is saying Narayana, who is Purna Guna, Mukunda, Vyasa, all Paramatma's rupas. And then he is Vijnana Sahasra Bhanu, like 1,000 Suryas, like that, basically comparing that. And then after that, his Shishya, Acharya Madhva Purna Bodha, and Sutattva Deepam Kramat Gurum Sa Pranamami Mudna. So I bow down to Vedavyasa, then Madhvacharya, and other gurus also. So he is paying his respects to other gurus also. Vamshasyadin, Sanakadin, Upase, Durvasasam, Paratirthakhya Bhikshum, Satya Pragnam, Prajnatirtham cha, Paschat, Shishyan, Achyuta Prajna Madhvav. So, Achyuta Preksha, Madhva Acharya, all those there. And then, Vande Hrusikesham, Atha Nusimham, Janardanam, Chintaya, Dhihi, Upendram, Shrivamanam, Samsmara, Vishnum, Emi, Shriramam, Anche, Aham, Adhokshadam. So these are all yatis that came in the Parampara. Hushikesha Tirtha. Nusimha is nothing but Narahari Tirtha, Janardana Tirtha, and Upendra Tirtha, Vamana Tirtha. So let us meditate on all those. Then Vishnu Tirtha, Vishnu Tirtha, Rama Tirtha. So he mentions all these people are there whom he pays his respects. And Krupalavaha Pankaja Napatirthaha Krupalavaha Syan Mai Nityamesham Padmanabhatirtha Naraharitirthamuneye Namaha Radharajeshwarayate Namaha Anjana Sunu Sannidhyat Vijayena Virajitam Ajita Preeti Janakam Bhajeham Vijayadvajam Vijayadvaja, he pays down to respect, and Mithya Siddha. So here Patanjali is saying he pays respects every day to Jaitirtha also. So people say he doesn't have any respect for Tikarayuru. He's saying every day he is praying Jaitirtha also. Mithya Siddhanta Dudvanta Vidvamshana Rakshana Jaitirtha Kya Munir Vasatam No Hudambare. So Jaitirtha Kya Taranir Vasatam No Hudambare. So Jaitirtha named Tarani means Surya. Bhasatam no hudambare, in our heart let him shine. So this prayer he does every day. So that means he is basically saying, unlike what people think, he has a lot of respect and every day he bows down to Tikarayuru. Sri Pada Raja Gurave Astu Namas Shubhaya Artika Kalpoyam Pratyatyaga Kesari Vyasatitha Guru Bhuyad Asmadishtata Siddhe Tapo Vidya Virakyadi Sadgunoga Karanam Vadirada Gurunvandehe Grivadayashrayan Durvadi Dhvantaravaye Sajjanendi Varendave Shri Raghavendra Guruve Namak Karunya Sindhave. So the people have another version also, but both are not much difference. Durvadi Dhvantaravaye Vaishnavendi Varendave Sajjanendi Varendave Shri Raghavendra Guruve Namu Atyanta Dayalave Namak Karunya Sindhave. Both give the same meaning only. Evam Prati aham abhishtutya ujyamanebyah gurukalpebhyah kim shakyam ishaitum. So he is saying, I bow down to all of them, so I don't have anything against any of them. Tasmat parashukartuhu satyanatha tithasya eva prabandhuhu asyapi sagavaravam swa abhipraya vyanjanam eva etat. So he is saying, because I have got hold of Satyanatha Tirtha's manuscripts, so I am just passing on whatever I found, those I am passing on, that's all. So, Taihi Anuktam Kinchid Atra Uktam Iti Etavata Na Tesham Mahatvam Apakrusyate. So, what if I say, so Tikarayu didn't say it is available in this is just whatever I found out. So, this is not to bring down the glory of any of those great ones. So they are all great people. I do not intend to bring down the glory of any of those people. So let people not have any bad feelings about me. So he is giving his own explanation. Khalu kushankinam shanka nirmulanaya prayatya prakrutam anusaramaha. So I have made my own efforts. So to remove the doubts of people who unnecessarily criticize me, so I made my own effort to remove their doubts. So it's left to them, whatever they think of me, let them think of me. So he's basically saying that. And then he is saying, idam upakramam shuddha pataha. So we don't have to go through all that. He is giving examples like, how in various places there are some patha that is available and Shuddha Pata, whatever he found as pure, manuscripts. And based on that, because Bananje basically was a researcher, so we have played multiple roles. One of the roles is the researcher role, and whatever in the scriptures he found through research, he documented all that. So he gave a lot of emphasis on Shuddha Patha, and because of that he was criticized a lot. Shuddha Patha is basically correct version. He did his own research and he says, if there are cases where two pathas are available, it can be pathantara, both are acceptable. But in some cases, the wrong patha is not acceptable at all. The Shuddha Patha, only one is correct, the other one is not all correct. In some cases, pathantara, basically both can be taken, it's not too much of harm done. But wrong patha is given, there's a harm. Just for example, in Dvasha Stotra, some places, Kimapak is basically Kuru Bhumshuta Karma Nijam Niyatam Maripada Vinamradhya Satatam Harideva Paro. Yeah, Edinam Paro na Bhavet Saharihi is Prachalita Pata. Popular one is Edinama Paro na Bhavet Saharihi. Of course, grammatically and chandas wise is fine. But Idinama Paro na Bhaveta Harihi, that is the Patha he found. And his argument is Na Bhaveta Harihi, Na Bhavet Saharihi. In these two Pathas, Na Bhaveta Harihi is talking about what we call in Dhatu Patha, we have Parasmaipadi and Atmanepadi. This is Atmanepadi Dhatu, which gives an emphasis that Paramatma is Swatantra. So Parasmaipadi, basically using the Parasmaipadi, Na Bhavet Saharihi, Bhavet is Parasmaipadi form. Na Bhaveta Harihi is Atmanepadi form. So instead of Na Bhavet Saharihi, which is actually Apapatha, not correct, doesn't give the right interpretation itself. So like this, just an example, multiple places he emphasized either grammar point of view or meaning point of view, the Shuddha Patha or the pure correct version is very important. So he spent a lot of effort in talking about the Shuddha Patha. So basically, Idam Upakram Shuddha Patha there, he talked about the various examples where the Shuddha Patha was, he found out in the research, and he's saying the whatever is the popular versions that are available, they are not right, but how it should be. So the Shuddha Patha I talked about. And then another thing is the Lipi, the script that is available. Probably they might have written in Devanagari and Tulu, both the Lipis, but Devanagari is not many are available. Tulu Lipi, Sarvamula is available actually, the entire Sarvamula is available actually, which he brought out in Tulu Lipi. And people who were not the current day people who do not know Tulu Lipi, they started saying, oh no, this way, that way. So they making all kinds of arguments because the reason is they don't understand Tululipi. So they didn't like Bannanjacharya emphasizing the Sarvamula that's available in Tululipi. He says, okay, that day itself, Satyatirtha and all, they wrote in Tululipi. So we should take that whatever is available. And people who do not know the Tulu Lipi or Tulu script, so they blindly attacked the Bananja and blindly they went with something else, whatever printed versions are available. So he's talking about Avidita Tulu Lipi Gandhanam Andhyam. So the expressions that he used are like very, very strong expressions he used. That's what actually he has been criticized for. Here he says, Andhyam is blindness. Avidita, not knowing Tululipi. Avidita Tululipi Gandhanam Andhyam. This is the blindness of the people who do not have even a trace of knowledge about Tulu script. This is the blindness of such people. So the expression that he used is very powerful expression, but that's his style. He wanted to say it in strong terms, and he said that. And a lot of people, but the criticism, because the current day pundits, they felt hurt by these expressions. So they said, okay, no, he shouldn't have used this kind of expressions. But because probably he was attacked by so many modern day pundits and he couldn't take it. So he gave back in a powerful way the expressions criticizing them. And then some people argues, they said Madhvacharya Shishya's parampara came, and how do you say that, Karana Apatava? That means they have how can they have any deficiency in their organs or whatever, or they maybe didn't see this, it didn't come across, whatever the criticisms that are there, he says his presentation that certain things were not available to them. They say they are aproksha, how can you say not available to them? So he says, not available is not available, that's all, because they didn't mention some of the things that are here. So that means I should take them as that it's not available for them, and they didn't use any of their aproksha jnana, shakti or anything like that. They went with whatever is available. Maybe they are capable of that aproksha jnana, but they went with whatever is available. So, and today I have something else available, I should bring it out. So that's basically his approach. And he says, Prachalitasya bhasha pramadasya pariharaha. Bhasha pramada, the linguistical loopholes, whatever are popular today, he says, I want to bring a solution for those loopholes that are there as a popular version today. I want to correct those. So that's what he says. And then KhandarthNirnaya. So his KhandarthNirnaya means the portions that are there in Vedic, their Nirnaya is done about them. And he says this KhandarthNirnaya is actually Akhandarthana. That means this Adbhuta. Akhanda means unbroken. So unbroken meaning this is is a very subtle, nice expression. KhandarthNirnaya, when we say that khanda, broken, is portions of the Vedic. AkhandarthNirnaya means unbreakable meaning. This meaning, nobody can oppose this meaning. So that's why it's akhanda. That means you cannot be a khandana. You cannot refute this. So this kind of a artha-nirnaya is done by Acharya. So he's talked about that. And then he says pramadyan sayana. Pramadya means who fell flat, who mistook, who made errors. And we all know that Shayanacharya is one of the ones who wrote meaning for Vedas, and his interpretations and his presentation of meaning are full of loopholes. So his loophole-filled versions, translations of people like Sayana, that also has done a lot of damage. So he says he wanted to correct some of the damage. He cannot do complete damage correction, but at least whatever is possible, that he wanted to correct. And he gives some example, but we don't have to go through that. Shadguru Shishya Vacha, and he talks about some things, let us do the Grantha Pravesha for that. And also Skanda Purana, Mahidas Charita from Skanda Purana extract also has taken, has presented that Narada Vacha Asminneva Mosthane Hari Tasya Anvaye Abhavat. So the Mahidasa, Aitareya and Mahidasa are Bhagavan, same Paramatma's two different names for one of his forms. The Aitareya Upanishad to Aitareya Brahmana, that Itara Devi, his son is Aitareya Paramatma, and there that Mahidasa, Aitareya is also called Mahidasa. Mahidasa and Mahatmas themselves are Dasa for Paramatma. Mahidasa basically means one whose Dasas are great Mahatmas. So that is the etymology for Mahidasa. So this Mahidasa Charita also comes in the Purana. So he has given a kind of a extract with some portions of it where you see ... So that means it's probably huge. So he didn't want to give all of that. So he says at least Skanda Purana has this Mahidasa Charita. So he's talking about that. And then basically Mahidasa Pada Nirukti is basically, as I said, Mahidasa Mahatmas themselves are Dasas Sarvam Prayas. So he gives actually multiple meanings. You don't have to go through all that. So, and then he talked about Bahuruchanam Mahatvamayam. So, Ruk, and there's a mention of Bruhati Sahasra also. So, Bruhati Sahasra is basically the root scripture portion for Vishnu Sahasranama. The 1,000 ruks that are there in Rig Veda, which is called Bruhati Sahasra, those 1,000 ruks gave rise to 1,000 names of Vishnu. That's why Vishnu Sahasranama has its base in Bruhati Sahasra. Bruhati Sahasra is the base for Vishnu Sahasranama. So that aspect also he talked about that, and Bahruchanam Mahatvangmayam. And this Vedamangmaya is basically pretty great work. And Vedamangmaya, as you all know, Vedas are Apaurushaya and Nitya. The Nitya Apaurushaya Vedas, from that, Acharya, some people came and questioned Acharya. Hey, this portion of it, you say everything, Vishnu Sarvottamatva, philosophical presentation. This portion is only talking about all karmas. So, give your understanding of that. Let us see how much you can justify that it is a philosophically loaded thing. It's not talking about just only karmas. You say, prove that. So Acharya immediately offhand tells everything there in the sabha, and then he says, okay, Acharya didn't want it to get lost in the flow, because those people ask and immediately gives, no preparation, nothing. Acharya, encyclopedic knowledge, and Sarvajna Acharya. So when they raise that objection, immediately answers that right away. And then he says, others should also benefit from that. So afterwards, whatever he told that, he brought out in the form of a work or grantha, book called this KhandarthNirnaya. That's how the whole thing started. I think actual Grantha Pravesha will do next class, next Thursday. This introduction I wanted to give so that people can get some understanding of what we are going to go through. So that so the Grantha Pravesha will do it in next Thursday. Hare Srinivas. Any questions are there, you can feel free to ask.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ, ನಾನು ಶ್ರೀಗಿದ್ದಿ. ಹೇಗಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ತುಂಬಾ ದಿವಸ ಆಯ್ತು.
ಹೌದು.
ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ, ಈಗ ಒಂದು ಆರ್ಗ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ ಇದೆ. ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಈಗ ಇವರು ಯಾರು ಪ್ರಭಂಜನಾಚಾರ್ಯರು 3-4 ಕಡೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಒಬ್ರು ನರಹರಿ ತೀರ್ಥರು ಗ್ರಂಥಗಳು ಬರೆದಿದ್ರು, ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಅಕ್ಷೋಭ್ಯ ತೀರ್ಥರು ಅದು ಇದೆ ಅಂತ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಮೊನ್ನೆ ಯಾರೋ ನಾನು ಕ್ಯಾಶುವಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಈ ಅಕ್ಷೋಭ್ಯ ತೀರ್ಥ ಬಳಗಾರ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಅಕ್ಷೋಭ್ಯ ತೀರ್ಥ ಇದಿದೆ, ಅವ್ರು ಬರ್ದಿರೋ ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ. ಈಗ ಕೆಲವು ಇದೆ, ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಈಗ ನಮ್ದು ಇದು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ನಕಸ್ತುತಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಭಾವಿತಾ ನಾಕಿವೃಂದೈಹಿ ಅಂತ ಕಟ್ಟದ ಮೇಲೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಭಾವಿತಾ ಭುರಿ ಭಾಗೈ ಅಂತ ಇದನ್ನ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಉಡುಪಿ ಕಡೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಸಮಂತತೋ ಅಪಿ ಕಲಯನ್ ಅಂತ ಉಡುಪಿ ಕಡೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ನಾವು ಸಮಂತತೋ ವಿಕಲಯನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಹೀಗೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮಗ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿರೋ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅದೇ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, ನ ಭವೇತ್ ಯದಿ ನಾಮ ಪರೋ ನ ಭವೇತ್ ಸ ಹರಿ, ಯದಿ ನಾಮ ನ ಭವೇತ ಹರಿ. ಅಥವಾ ದ್ವಾದಶೋತ್ತರದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಇದು ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಉಪೇತ ಹರಿ, ಉಪಾಸ್ಯ ಹರಿ ಅಂತ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಕೆಲವು ಆರ್ಗ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಇದು ಅಕ್ಷೋಭ್ಯ ತೀರ್ಥೀಯದಿಂದ ಬಂದಿರೋದು ಅಂತ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅವ್ರು ಆರ್ಗ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದನ್ನು ಬನಂಜಾಚಾರ್ಯ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೇನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಇದು ಜನಗಳು ತಿದ್ದಿರೋದು ಅಂತ.
ಹೌದು. ಈಗ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತದೆ, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್. Printed versions, people whoever have the printed versions, they are claiming, okay, already ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. So the thing is, the printed versions are copied, goes on parampara. So there is no as such justification for that. In some cases, as I said, patantara can be tell, for example, naki vrundaihi bhuri bhagaihi. Naki vrundaihi, naki akam kam sukham, akam dukkha, na akam dukkha illadu swarga is called a naka. So naki is swargavasis devatas. Naki vrundaihi by the So here, Nakivrundehi, one who is worshipped by devatas, but is sure, it is true. But Bhuri Bhagaihi is a bigger expression. Bhuri Bhaga, even devatas are Bhuri Bhagas, and great rishis are Bhuri Bhagas. So Paramatma is worshipped not only by devatas, but great rishis, great knowledgeable people, so many others. So the Bhuri Bhagaihi is a bigger circle. Nakivrundehi is a subset of the circle. So both can be taken. Bhuri Bhagaihi seems more appropriate because it covers, it's like Nakivrundehi is a subset of the Bhuri Bhagaihi. So it's a bigger set. So Bhuri Bhagaihi makes a lot more sense. Not that Nakivrundehi is wrong, but Bhuri Bhagaihi is a better expression. Same way, Samantato Pikalayan, Samantato Vikalayan, there not much of difference. Samantataha api kalayan, samantataha api, samantataha kalayan api, or samantataha vikalayan. So both are not much of difference. There is a preferential. So there are some places where it can be taken either pata is not a damage. But na bhavet sahari, na bhavet as I explained, atmanepadi parasmepadi, the grammatical aspect which conveys a loaded meaning, that means probably na bhavet saharihi is a printed version that came as a popular one. It may have been a mistaken identity or mistaken version. So there, purpose is there by saying bhavetahari. In that case, only one is correct, the other one is losing the important concept. So that's why na bhavet saharihi is rejected and na bhavetaharihi alone is the correct one. So it depends upon the case. We have to go case by case rather than, older one is correct or this one is correct or whatever. So it's a very, very involved and deeper concept, but blindly we don't have to knock down anything. We have to look at it, think about it, why either of them can be taken or why only one of them can be taken. And which one is to be taken by going, we don't have to have any blind thing. Okay, Bananja says I'll take it, or Bananja says I won't take it. Both are blind. So let us look at each one, analyze it, and see which one is more appropriate. That's how we have to go.
Okay.
Sasang Namaskar Shikeshwara. I have one question. So the Mahanamni Richa. So I know you mentioned it previously, but if you can tell where exactly, because Aitere Aranyak, it happens in Aitere Aranyak, and then there is Upanishad also, Mahanamni, Aitere Upanishad also part of that. So how are the chapters structured in the, it is happening in Aitere Aranyak, is that right?
Yes. Basically, Mahanamni, why that name? Mahanama is name. So Mahanamni is like, Bhagavan is, he's given as a Mahanama. So basically, when we actually do the Grantha Pravesha, we'll go to that. But the reason why it's called Mahanamni is explained there. So, yes, it's from Aitarya Aranyaka that is taken, and it's the portion that it mentions where it is and all that. Actually, the details it gives. 15th. Yeah. So we'll actually go through that.
Okay.
Yeah. We have not done the Kanta Pravesha. Yes, there it's a lot of things are discussed. Which one is that Mahanamni? And that Upasarga, Saga, Upasarjana, Utastan, Upasajati, Samyojana. Upasarjana basically is not Samyojana, putting them together. And that's what it says. Mahatnama Yavat Yasu Ruksh Vidyate Ta Mahanamya. Acharya himself gives in Bhashya briefly meaning, and we will go through that. Yeah.
Okay, Dhanyavad. Sastang Namaskar.
Sure.
Namaskar, Uncle. Nice to hear your voice after a long time. Can you repeat that shloka that you on Ashtamata Yatigalu? Vande Hrishikesham Atho Nrisimham Janardhanam Chintayati Rupendram. And then I didn't catch the third line. If you can just,
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. वंदे ऋषिकेशम अथो नृसिंहम जनार्दनम चिंतय धीरूपेन्द्रम श्रीवामनं संस्मर विष्णुम एमि श्रीरामम अंचे aham adhokshajam cha. Anche is basically I worship. So Shri Ramam Ramatirtharu anche aham adhokshajam cha.
Beautiful, beautiful. ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
So next Thursday we'll meet 9:30 p.m. EST. So we'll do that. Hare Srinivasa.
Hare
Srinivasa.
Sastang namaskar. Dhanyawad.
Namaskar.
Hare Srinivasa. Namaskar.
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 ಹರೇ ಶ್ರೀನಿವಾಸ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
Hare Srinivasa.
ಹರೇ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
Namaskar.